Yep.
Excellent. All of you stand in a dark room. You see before you a uh, a ward of runic ward lined with sigils of some description that hurts your head, glowing in the darkness. And as a bright flash of light temporarily blinds you, when the vision comes back, you see before you a demon prince of corn. You are all standing there in your robes with a combat knife in your hand. You do.
Vlad charges it.
I was gonna say, yeah, so I said I was ready a few minutes ago, but if you could just give me a moment.
I thought so. Alright. No, I was just stalling for time as I was opening the Google Doc. So there is no actual demon prince currently present, of corn or otherwise.
The demon prince isn't real and can't hurt you.
Yet.
I rolled for Vlad's new cybernetics, and it's going to take him 7 days to recover from the operation.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like, we're doing a bit of time escape here, which is why I was, so eager to get to my notes so I could tell you all the story of Ragnar the Red. Actually, no, wrong game. But yeah, I think after the disastrous mission, the last thing you remember is the Necron fight down in the refinery that did not turn out the way one would normally hope in these kinds of scenarios. And one after one, the battle brothers fell, and the rest, there is a long period of darkness from that moment until you wake up again. Manos, I think the last thing you remember was staring into the eyes of the Destroyer Lord as he sliced you apart with his void blade. And the very last moments of your existence was spent falling before darkness took you. You did not even feel the impact, you were already gone at that point. And I think as you open your eyes again, you stand at a familiar place on a familiar cliff amid dark gray bedrock and jagged black obsidian shards, staring out into the valley where you last saw the sacrifices to be made for the greater cause. You look around you, you look down on yourself. You're bruised, battered, and scarred, but currently intact as far as you can tell. You're staring up into the horizon, into the sky. On the horizon, you see the twin suns casting their baleful red eye, making the sky look like it's weeping with blood. And you know this place to be named Carnage. In the horizon, just like last time, you see hills, rolling hills as far as you can tell, as far as you can see, filled from horizon to horizon with the faceless masses of the enemies of the Imperium. As you look down onto your body once again, you, you stood there at first, dressed in nothing but a loincloth and your battle scars earned over the centuries of war. And now you're standing there in resplendent battle plate. The weight and the sound of the power generator feel comforting, reassuring, and familiar to you. And you look down on the ground next to your feet, and you see the chains that you ripped off last time you were here. And I would like you to make me a +0 willpower, please. Yeah, as you look from the chains, you remember the master's face in front of you. You remember his words. And then you look up at the horizon again, and you see clearly now, because of the enhanced vision your helmet affords you, there are billions of enemies, orcs, and demons standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder, just frothing at the mouth, waiting to charge in. Behind them, you see the gargantuan forms of the bloodletters, or the bloodthirsters, and the orc gargants, just towering, dominating the skyline. And you look down closer to you, to the hill closest to where you're standing, hill beneath you, where from end to end you see battle brothers wearing the black and the sigil of Deathwatch, and the flesh and the iconography of the flesh terror in the red armor. And they are all, just as the enemy, frothing at the mouth, just waiting patiently to be released and charge down into the valley, where countless of billions of civilians are waiting for you. And you feel the battle rage shines through, starts pumping through your vein, and you yourself start frothing at the mouth for a brief moment before you manage to rein yourself back from the brink of the battle frenzy that was threatening to overtake you. And you realize that this is not reality. This is a dream of some sort. And you turn around and start walking the other way from the edge instead of jumping down to stand with your battle brothers. You walk into a nearby cave that was behind you all this time, but you had not seen it until now. And as the darkness of this cave entrance takes you, you open your eyes, and a world of pain meets you. A world of pain and the smell of antiseptic meets you as you open your eyes and stare into the metal ceiling of the apothecarium. As you look around, you see your battle brothers from your own kill team laying in their Medicaid beds as well next to you, all with various degrees of bandages and wounds that's been tended to. And you see Medicaid servitors and Subskull hovering in the room, going from hospice bed to hospice bed, just monitoring the vitals and changing the dressing of the wounds as needed. And I think roughly around that time, all the rest of you wake up as well, and you feel the same smell. You feel the same. You see the same thing when you open your eyes. The metal ceiling of the apothecary wing, and as you start moving your head around to inspect your surroundings, you see your fellow battle brothers laying next to you. And as the heart rate monitors and the Medicaid equipment register your increased heart rate and your return to consciousness, Alfheim, you know that the device will send a signal back to the chief apothecary's room, where he will be notified, or whoever is on watch for this rotation, notify them of your return to the land of the living again. And yeah, as you're groggily sitting up, trying to shake the feeling of unease from your last memories, last haze of combat, and the unconsciousness that came afterward. You see the chief apothecarian stepping through the large vaulted door on the side. And he stands there in his battle plate with his helmet off, and he looks at all of you, slowly sweeping his gaze from one side of the room to the next, looking at all of you. And he says, "Good, you're finally awake." How do you react to all of this?
I think Alfheim, he wakes up and realizes where he is, and he just assesses his own wounds and sees that he's stabilized, and then just lays back and contemplates basically runs over the mission in his head. As for Oreo, I think he's a lot more messed up. I think he would jump out of the bed and try to, basically try to immediately leave the room if he wasn't so badly injured.
Manos is gonna ask how long he's been out. Imperial is gonna ask if anyone.
Yeah, as you look around the room, you see all of the kill team that went in are laying in beds, either next to you or like on the opposite side of the room. So everyone seems to be present, plus a couple of more Space Marines that you know served on the other team, or one of the other team. And yeah, all of you wake up. All of you, when you wake up, you're still groggy, and like just trying to reassess the situation. But you are all at, let's say half the health you would normally be at for this when you wake up the first time around. So change your health to whatever your total is, that by half, and then that's your current health for this particular scenario before we move forward. And he says, the apothecary says, you have been out. All of you have been in coma for roughly 5 weeks. The ship we are currently traveling on is in transit through the warp, and there will be another 3 weeks before we arrive at our new destination, our new base of operation. So you have time to rest and get back to optimal fighting condition. And as he's talking, like saying this, he walks around for all of the beds, like between all the beds, and just making sure, like, checking all the cablings and all the monitoring equipment and all that, just making sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. And the usual, like, nurse or doctor stuff they do when they come and check on you in the hospital. And yeah, as you're starting to look around the room, and yeah, Oreo, if you wanted, you could just get up and leave. You are healthy enough for that. But yeah, all of you, as you look around a bit more, taking the current situation, you see all of you have a, a data slate laying next to your individual beds. It's slightly more ornate than most of the data slates you have seen.
Yeah, Alfheim will take a look at
Saf
it.
will pick his up and start looking at it. And Vlad, meanwhile, is getting up and moving around and testing out his new.
Oh yeah, and those of you who lost limbs during the combat have them surgically replaced with cybernetics, free of charge, of course.
For Vlad, it was his left leg and left arm.
Yeah. Yeah, so as you notice this data slate, and those of you who pick it up, you see, like I said, it's slightly larger than normal. Data slate, the display is bigger on it, and like it looks a bit more ornate. It has some like nice filigrees to it, like golden filigrees to it, and there is a note attached to it, or attached to it, and it says, "May I suggest you read this, brother? It will guide you in future endeavors and hopefully prevent you from making foolish mistakes again." And it's just signed with an H underneath. And yeah, as you power it on, you realize that this is the truncated version of the Codex Astartes. And there is, as you bring up like the index, there is a couple of points on it, like chapters in it that are highlighted for you. And it's mainly like chapters pertaining to like dealing with overwhelming, when finding yourself in situation of facing overwhelming force, and how to organize a retreat to a safe location before, and setting up a defensive position after you retreat. So there is a couple of stuff like that.
Yeah, Oreo will probably leave the room to return to his quarters and take stock of his equipment and everything. And it's after mission. And Alfheim will probably read through the data slate for a while before leaving.
So Furry will take the data slate and return to his quarters, study through it, and Vlad will take his back to his quarters, but he'll immediately go to wherever the Battle Brothers train at, and start practicing to get full use of his back.
All right. Yeah, like you're not at any point stopped from leaving, and And I think as you're starting to file out of the room, the chief apothecary just says that if you have any more issues, or if you tear a suture, and come back and I'll fix you up. But there's no like chastising for getting out of bed early before you're fully healed. And yeah, as you, for those of you who return to your chambers and check on your war gear, uh, seems to have been mostly salvaged and repaired. Like there is still, because of all your equipment were essentially destroyed, it's having to be rebuilt, which takes a bit of time, even for the most um, dedicated tech marine. Gonna take a while to sort out a completely fucked up suit of power armor. So most of your equipment are like fully restored, and then the armor is this armor suits of armor is probably like still, there's probably a post-it note taped to it somewhere, like on the armor rack, and saying, "Hey, still working on it, but I have some pieces if you need it." All right. So, is there anyone else other than Lad who wants to, hit the gym and start lifting?
Manos is probably gonna go as well because 5 weeks in bed is way too long.
Yeah, I think Alfheim is going to spend most of his time in the chapel, and as usual, and Oreo is going to go back to training, basically 21 hours a day sort of thing.
Uh, yeah. As you all of you in your own time filter into the training area, you see there's a couple of other space marines there. Most of them you recognize because still same people, but yeah, they're all like busy practicing their skill. And you see all of them have all of the space marines you meet have some fairly like some a bunch of a potent amount of new scars and bruises and all kinds of other things that haven't fully healed yet. And can all of you make a scrutiny checks? And this is for like the entire duration of this, as you're just walking around, resuming your normal day-to-day activity while practicing. So, at any point, are you? Oh, that's a clutch roll there. But yeah, at any point, are you, asking around for information as to what happened during like these 5 or so weeks that you were out, or are you just accepting that some bad shit happens, let's move on?
Yeah, Safariel's asking around.
All right. Yeah, so I think
Mostly how we were recovered, what happened, all that.
all right. So I think the long and short of it is, what happened was after, and this scrutiny role is uh, something different. So I'll get to that in a moment. But basically, if any one of you are like asking around, small talk or asking the pointed questions, well, what to fill in the time gaps. It was basically after you, failed to report in, and no one could reach you on the box. Ostus and his team, um, after they completed their mission, came back and managed to call in reinforcements or enough firepower at least, to bring push away the Necrons far enough that your bodies could be recovered before teleporting out again. And with that roll, with that scrutiny roll, both Manos and Pyriel, you also hear that because of the valiant rescue effort, or sorry, assistance landed by Hostas, he has since been, while you were unconscious, he was promoted to Brother Sergeant, leading such a textbook example of a assistance. So that's what you heard. That's what the two of you hear as you're walking around and practicing. Maybe there's some like talk in the sparring chamber, for example. Someone mentions, "Oh yeah, like he's too good for us now. He's spending all his time polishing his iron skull." And whenever you see him, like the people in his like the battle brother in his team just gives him the friendly ribbing, like saying, "Hey, it's good of you to finally show up again. Thought you were spending all your time, facing up to the chapter, to the brother captain and all that, like that kind of stuff. The usual hazing." And also that would explain possibly why who the H referred to in the post-it note on the Codex Astartes. But yeah, I think as you resume your normal day-to-day operation, unless there is anything you want to do, like during this downtime that's gonna be coming, we can skip ahead a bit, unless there's a conversation or interaction you want to have.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine. Oreo and Alfheim are basically just going to try and get back up to speed and be ready for the next mission.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I think we skip ahead maybe 3 weeks, so 8 weeks total now after the battle, and all of you are at full health and full current fate points, obviously, since you had to burn one. All right, and yeah, you feel so at some point during this day, whatever you're doing, your character's doing this time of day, either practicing or praying or maybe having a meal or something. I don't know. Entirely up to you. But yeah, all of you feel the ship start violently shake for a very brief moment before the jostling stops again, and you hear the dull humming of the void engines burned to life. And yeah, it appears that you have translated back into real space again, wherever that may be. All right. So as you are fully recovered and maybe not up to optimal fighting conditions, but you're close enough that your presence are required, or yeah, required. You get summoned by the brother sergeant to one of the smaller rooms, and either by you get summoned by Voxter or a chapter serf that comes and taps you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, Sergeant needs you." And yeah, as you are led into the chamber, briefing chamber, you see Brother Sergeant Hostus standing there in his battle plate with a helmet off, currently resting on the table. And he says, "Good of you to join me, brothers. It's been some time since you were last up and about, and it's warms my heart to see all of you currently standing. Some of us were not fortunate enough to make it back." And he just gestures to the chairs lining the table, and taps a key on the keyboard for the hololift to display the current planet or current whatever wants to display. I have spoken at great length with the brother captain, and he agrees in my current assessments of your status, which is that you are fairly useless in your current shape. You have failed every mission you have been selected for. You have brought shame to the Deathwatch with your constant failures. I will not speak ill of the previous brother sergeant that had to deal with you, but now you are under my command, and I expect you to act in accordance with the Codex. And if you fail, then the consequences will be severe.
Safrio would speak up right about then and say that if we'd been provided with adequate intelligence for our missions, the outcome far more positive.
As the Primer Guilliman wrote in the Codex Astartes, brother, you adapt, you overcome. Never be rigid, always be fluid. That's how we win. It's that simple. You have been selected for a mission that I will hope is appropriate for your current track record. Please, do not disappoint me. I expect so little of you already. And with that, he taps a key, and the current mission briefing pops into view for all of you on the hololift in the middle of the table. And I'm just going to make the handout and roll 20 real quick. But yeah, he's so out of character. He's throwing absolute mad shade at all of you, and like questioning your competence and your honor. So it's fairly potent insults he's dropping left, right, and center here.
What chapter was he from again?
The Ultramarines.
Figured.
I'm born and bred on Ultramar Prime. Right, so you all now have the mission objective in your handouts there. Yeah, as you take in the mission briefing displayed on the hololith, and he says, "The brother captain and I both agree that this mission would be suitable for you in your current state of readiness. And regardless of method of insertion, there is no way you will enter undetected, so you might as well go in with drop pods. And if anyone opposes you, kill them all. Everything here is considered hostile." Is there any out of character? Is there any questions about the mission objectives so far?
I can't think of one right now.
Excellent. And you can always walk back to the ship if there is any issues or questions that needs to clarify. Yeah, you can. Now that you have the mission briefing, unless there is any in character questions, the brother sergeant dismisses you with sweeping hand gestures and leaves the room. And yeah, you are left with your own devices or to your own devices for the remainder of the trip, which you know roughly is going to take like a week at full burn from the translation point. You have a week to prepare for this mission to arm yourself and select a squad leader for this.
Good God, I forgot how expensive smoke grenades are.
I mean, at this point, you're probably better off just buying like 8 packs of glow sticks and smoking them all at once to create a smoke screen.
Well, yeah, it's like a teleport homer is 10 points, and a single smoke grenade is also 10 points. And I'm like, wow.
Bloody hell, man! Like that, I still remember in Stars Without Number when your character fucking in the middle of the hallway when you get shot at and you started like lighting the smokes to create a smoke screen.
Yeah, I made a vape cloud to get away. Like some kind of stoner octopus.
So good. Yeah, I'm just double checking the route to see if there's any renown or sorry, requisition changes to the smoke grenades. Because that seems fairly high.
Well, yeah, it's because I remember when we were fighting Necrons, I was like, why didn't I bring smoke grenades? And now I remember why, is I couldn't afford them.
So smoke grenades, are those actual smoke grenades or are those stun grenades?
They're called blind grenades.
Blind. Well, that explained why I couldn't find them. But yeah, they are 10 each.
But it's okay. I'm closer to finishing my meme build of an assault marine, so hopefully I won't need them.
Do I even dare to ask?
It's gonna be okay. Probably.
You know, I'm scared now.
And even like the missiles, even the missiles are cheaper. Some of them anyway. I should just bring a tinderbox and some tires, and I can make my own smoke.
I'll make a note of that, and I'll remind you next time you walk by an Imperial Guard vehicle, you know, just casually lift it up with one hand and rip the tires off with the other.
Yeah.
Funny thing is that a tech marine could actually do that with their servo arm, just lift up the vehicle and then with both hands just rip the tires off.
Have you ever seen? I'm trying to remember. I think it's called Pavlov. It's like the CS:GO VR port.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, it's like CS:GO, but you play it with VR goggles, and so you actually have to load your gun and take grenades off your belt and pull the pin and stuff like that. And one of the things I saw is someone like they hid around the corner, and when the enemy came around the corner, he just reached out and took the magazine out of his weapon, and then stabbed him with a knife.
Nice.
A lot of potential there.
Alright, so have you figured out your gear yet? I know it's not a lot of requisition, but like I said, they don't expect you to do a lot this mission.
I
Alright.
I only need to buy one more thing.
Anybody remember how much requisition a chameleon alien cloak is?
Chameleon cloak is not demolition charges, though. That would be pretty fun if you were stacking a couple of those on your back. Which book is the cloak in?
It's time to look for it.
You know, that probably makes sense.
Ah, here it is. It's
Oh man, you know what I just realized? Did I lose my fistful of gold rocks?
So as Manos comes back into his chambers and sits down on the bed, you realize on one of the on one of the on the nightstand where you have a lamp and maybe a data slate or two, there is the gold nugget that you find from the wall, still sitting there
Nice.
shining as a trophy.
One step closer to retirement.
Manos is going to be tactical. He's got a multi-key this time. He's going to be able to get in anywhere.
I've already got one of those.
And if the multi-key doesn't work, he's also got to build the bomb. Because why the hell not?
You believe you got to be distinguished just to have a.
I took Imperial's requisition gear a little more serious.
I begrudgingly bought a smoke bomb, but I just want to complain one more time that a demolition charge is the same amount of money.
I almost got a smoke bomb, but instead I took a teleport home. For
And
Imperial,
Saf's
that
got
is.
one of those. Saf's got a teleport beacon, multi-key, ammo.
Also, I'm just going to throw this out there in case you guys didn't realize how cheap it was. Jump packs are only 15 requisition. I picked one up for Imperial.
Yeah, I should probably do that for Alfheim. Probably on a mission where you have a bit more requisition.
Jump packs are so nice.
Yeah, so with launchers, like if you want missiles, for example, a launcher comes preloaded with, I think, one or two clips, and then every missile after that you have to buy like spare extra clips for it. So you don't have to buy, spend the requisition on a launcher and then like 5 missiles for it. Like you can just buy the launcher, requisition the launcher, and then you get at least one full clip for it. And that works with special ammo as well for a tactical green if you were to requisition a launcher. Oh yeah, and pilot personal is a first rank advance in general. If you guys wanna, take some time at some point in fiction and practice your jump ballet stuff.
You can take a flash grenade for 5, blinds everybody 15 meters for 1d5 round. Basically does the same thing as a smoke grenade.
difference is a smoke grenade obfuscates vision for everyone unless you have some special stuff. A blind grenade, if if they succeed on the toughness to resist it, they will be able to see you unhindered. So there are pros and cons of both. But I say a smoke grenade obfuscate vision for everyone. So it might be better on a larger scale.
Okay, that's why blind looks bad, not just a.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
I was like, that's why blind grenades are so expensive. They're not just a smoke grenade; they're more fancy.
Yeah, there's a bit of fancier stuff with them, but there's not like a, as far as I know, I can't find like a downgraded normal smoke grenade or anything like that. There's nothing that just blocks line of sight that costs 1 requisition or anything like that.
I guess the Imperial Guard have access to tech we don't.
So which grenade are you talking about now? Because I'm hearing a lot of different words.
Well, I think we're wanting just a standard run-of-the-mill smoke grenade, but there isn't.
Okay, I'm looking at Terminator armor now, so I gotta keep scrolling a bit.
Yeah, like the blind grenade, the Astartes blind grenade is pretty much what you would expect of an Astartes grade smoke grenade, where it basically it doesn't just block sight, it also blocks like everything in the electromagnetic spectrum. So even if you have like a servitor that's targeting you or something like that, then it'll block it even then. But the problem is it costs 10 requisition, I assume, because it's so fancy. And there's not like a normal smoke grenade that only blocks line of sight that is affordable. Because keep in mind, this is 10 requisition for 1 smoke grenade. So if you want to have like a bandolier of them, that's just insane. That could be like 40, 50, or 60 requisition.
I mean, that's a valid point. And I apologize once again for not talking into the microphone. I'll have a quick look what it says about grenades and ammo. Because I know there is something about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pick up extra frag and crack grenades for 1 requisite, but there's just a standard run-of-the-mill smoke grenade's not even on.
Yeah, I even checked to see if maybe there was like maybe smoke grenades come in a pack and that's why they're so expensive, but no, as far as I can tell, it's 10 for 1.
Did you check if the Rights of Battle had a smoke?
No, I haven't checked. I can give it a look. Yeah, I just realized as well that the smoke grenade, it lasts 1d10 rounds. So imagine spending 10 requisition on it and then getting like 6 seconds of smoke.
Yeah, no, I think it's because of the super high tech nature of it. Like it blocks the IR, like infrared and broadband EM spectrum. Like that's why it's so expensive, you know.
Yeah, but they don't have lesser version.
Yeah, they don't have normal smoke grenades at all.
Imperial Guard get regular.
Yes, but the Imperial Guard also gets Commissar to shoot the traitors who tries to run away. So you know, win some, lose some situation. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's a special requisition thing for you know, ammo, because I know there is a couple of things for this.
Monoball grenade was 5d10 plus 5R, 10 6 plus 3, 50 requisition.
All right, tell you what, to stop the head scratching and the feet pumping. Let's say all of you gets as mission assigned gear, you get 3 blind grenades each. As mission assigned gear, so stick that under requisition gear.
Oh, there's inhalation. Says on the special thing, the inhalation grenade can be loaded with any form of gas or toxin the GM feels appropriate. They don't have requisition on it.
Page number and book.
Page number is 37, Rights of Battle. I mean, in theory, it would be up to you, but you could do inhalation grenades and smoking.
Rights of battle, you said. What's
Yeah.
the page?
147.
All right. I wrote it wrote one in the chat for the mission assigned gear.
Oh my god. I just looked up because I get super salty earlier. I looked up the only war blind grenades, and it has exactly the same description as the Astartes blind grenades. They also have a cheaper version, which is called a smoke grenade, which basically it's basically like a modern day smoke grenade without IR chaff or anything like that, and it has double the area of effect. But yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that was just an oversight, or maybe in game testing they thought that smoke grenades were super OP or something like that.
I mean, it might be a bit of both, considering the shitty layout on some of these
All right,
in
sorry,
some
I'm
of these
back.
books. Welcome back. All right. So I'm looking at this, and I'll say, if you wanted to use inhalation grenades, it would not be functioning as a smoke grenade. You can use them as signal flares, or disperse a toxic or choking gas cloud, but it will not be like an actual like proper smoke cloud like the smoke grenades. But yeah, all of you, and this is the last time I say this, you get free blind grenades as mission assigned gear. So mark that on your sheet
Yep, I already
and
did.
spend your points elsewhere. Unless you want an extra, of course.
Oh, hold on, I found
And
something else funny about these things, but I need to look it up. Apparently, blind grenades have the smoke quality, and so in the description for blind grenades, it says that the smoke lasts 1d10 rounds. But in the description of the smoke quality, it says it lasts for 2d10 rounds. I'm gonna have to look that up.
no, if it lasts for if it has a smoke quality, we use the smoke quality thingamajig on it.
All right, I'm good to go.
Yep, I'm good. I think we might have to, unless we want to do a 3-man or 6-man mission, I guess, or wait for Erden next week. Whatever. To do.
I mean, so here's the thing, right? I would be happy to do either. Because, I mean, honestly, if we start, actually, I think because we started a bit late because you guys were spending your XP and all that, chances are we ain't gonna really get anywhere until we have to call it, at 5 or 11, I think, for you.
Yeah.
So what we, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, yeah. If we started the mission now, then we would probably have to find a way to drop Erden into the middle of it.
No, I'll just say he hangs out in the drop pod with you, and then if shit goes bad, one of his characters are the one that eat the anti-air flak.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm fine with that.
so we have someone else other than Mano starting at crits.
No, it'll be fine. I bought some Constitution. I got an extra health.
Okay,
Never
well I
gonna
have
die.
I have the Manticore stats right here. If you want me to roll some damage.
Drop me on it. I'll
Oh
land
shit!
I'll land breaching auger first.
Well, this just got interesting.
Manticore, that's like 4 auto cannons, ain't it?
No, that's the Hydra. Manticore are the missiles.
Oh yeah.
I can dodge one and parry another. It'll be fine. Can I parry a missile?
Well, so that's the damage you take as the missiles fly up to shoot you in the face.
Can I parry one of them?
No, you can try to dodge midair.
I'm gonna fate point that.
Oh man, fucking don't waste your fate point on this shit.
Shit.
But yeah, honestly, I think if you guys want to just select the squad lead and swear the oath, and then we can, start next session with you blasting through the sky in the drop pod. And it also gives me a chance to fill out some of the character sheets that I've been currently trying to multitask everything with. So.
Anybody want to take squad lead?
Whoever can take the oath that gives us shared reactions.
I think that was me.
I don't even
No.
remember which that one is.
It was tactical spacing. Let me look at, because I'm pretty sure I was the one in charge when I was using that. Let me see which character I had though.
I mean, I know you have been using it incorrectly on in several sessions, so I honestly don't know anymore.
$228, $229 in PDF.
Yeah, tactical spacing is the one.
Shit, I kept forgetting about my squad mode ability last time.
Alright, so tactical spacing seems to be. I'll look in the rotor real quick to confirm this. But there seems to be 2 of them that have it. Let me just confirm. Yeah, so you have that it's O for their starters and O for loyalty, I think. Yeah, so if you want to do that one, tactical spacing, it's either tech marine or apothecary for loyalty, or tactical assault or devastator for O for their starters. So loyalty gives you cohesion, an extra cohesion, and you add an extra plus 10 to resist cohesion damage. Or for their starters, adds plus 2 to the cohesion, initial cohesion, or total cohesion for that mission.
I'm also going to throw this out there that Soak Fire is also pretty nice.
Where do we find out who can use what stances?
So on page 228 or 230 in my book, you have The prerequisite. So for Oath of Loyalty, it's prerequisite, tactical, or apothecary. So it's listed just above the effect of each oath. Are you finding it?
Yeah, I'm finding it. I'm just trying to read through. Because another part of the book, I'm trying to make sense of it. The area with tactical spacing is under defensive stances, and the what would you call it? Like the subtext for defensive stances as a whole says these are all stances that are suitable for any type of space marine. And so I'm trying to figure out what they mean by that.
Oh yeah, it means so you have to be the leader to order a specific stance. But for example, like the Oath of Knowledge, for example, like that one might be more suitable for a librarian because they're supposed to know shit, whereas an assault marine is just gonna go in and murder things. So I think it's something like that. And you also have uh, the chapter specific stuff. So I'm sure there's a differentiation between the two, like chapter attack pattern, chapter defense pattern, for example. And maybe some of that will exclude a certain thing. So let's say like a librarian might not be able to take a chapter defense stand from the Black Templars, for example.
Since we're so far behind on renown, we could take the Oath of Glory.
Yeah, it might be a good call. Alfheim actually is still at
That'll
0
give us-
renown.
That'll give us an additional renown for each primary and secondary objective.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to min-max this shit, you just go without helmets and you get +1 renown as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go that far.
But come on, guys, it's one more renown. You say you want more. Here I'm offering you.
Yeah,
Gonna be-
I vote we take the Oath of Glory. That's for a tactical or a alternate.
Yeah, so
They'll
with
get
that,
back for what's his face throwing shade at it.
oh yeah, no, his Hostus is gonna keep throwing shade at you until you actually prove yourself to be anything other than incompetent fools, which is probably gonna take a while. But yeah, you can definitely take that if you want, but again, you won't be able to share reactions between each other. So that's one downside of that, but you get more renown for it.
Considering we haven't gotten any yet, hardly. I kind of want to take that one. Make up for lost time.
Yeah, what do the rest of you guys think? You want to go for that one as well?
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
Because we're not going to be able to play with the good equipment until we get up in renown, and we're not going to get up in renown if we can't get it. So we take Oath of Glory. It's my vote.
I mean, it could be famous last words, but the hostile force is just local prison population, so how well equipped can they be, right?
As equipped as fucking Arbites or PDF forces here were.
I mean, they ain't gonna have Valkyries, I can tell you that. But yeah, so key thing here from the mission briefing, you're dropping to a penal colony which is essentially a prison planet. So obviously there's gonna be some weapons of some description, but I very much doubt you'll run into people like full on, like every person on the planet has like heavy bolters running and storm bolters. So it's probably, what you can reasonably expect to fight here would be like solid projectile weapons and maybe las weapons. Maybe a couple of muskets, and flintlocks because for good measure. Actually, don't. Um, mm, yeah, if you have it minus 30 Imperium, yeah, minus 40 lore Imperium. Because you know the planet, but you don't know where it is. And if you succeed on it, I'll reveal some more information on it. Hey, we're using the lore skills in a game about killing things. I think we're stepping up, feeling good.
The staff made it.
Holy shit! Of course, the sneaky infiltrator would know things. All right, I've updated the mission briefing based on that information, and you can share. I probably should have asked if you wanted to share it or not, but hey, now everyone knows. And yeah, you know that this is a fairly like low with that role. Get basic information. It's a low tech penal colony. The backwaters is all hell. No one really gives a damn other than the people who occasionally goes there to toss down the slaves and prisoners on the planet. And there is really not a lot else going on there. Like they export some minerals from the mine, but other than that, it's there's nothing significant about this at all, other than apparently the fact that the Deathwatch have a astronomical relay built on the planet somewhere that you need to go fix.
Yeah, he'll share the information with everybody.
All right. So for the Alpha Glory, you need either a tactical or an assault marine to take charge of this. So who feels brave enough to step up and say, "Hey, I'll do it"?
I mean, Oreo can do it.
Alright. Yeah, unless I hear anything else, we can roll with that. So let me just quickly look up how cohesion is calculated. Because we have been doing that for 15 sessions now, and I still can't remember the damn thing. Also, I just realized earlier today when I was looking at your YouTube page, just to see how far back all the VODs go, and I realized we've been playing for I think more than a year through various campaigns.
Yeah, it's quite an impressive stack of videos.
All right. So let's see here. Cohesion and squad lead. To work out the size of the kill team's pool of cohesion points. So it's fellowship as base. So fellowship bonus as base. So what's your fellowship?
That'll be 3.
All right. So free base. You are not rank 4. Do you have command?
Yeah, I have command.
Do you have a base or +10?
Base.
All right. So you have, well, unless what's his wiggle? Ariel wants to give it a shout. I think you start with 4, because I think Pyril was dedicated to fellowship unless he went elsewhere with that. But yeah, so cohesion is 4. So I hear otherwise.
Yep, sounds about right.
All right, and at this point you have all healed up to max again, as it's been like what did I say, 8 weeks to get there, and then 1 week in real space. Yeah, 9 weeks total from the last mission, so you have healed up to max. All right. Is there any further questions or thoughts and possibly feelings about the mission or the campaign in general before we end tonight?
I can't really think of too
Pretty much.
much. It seems like we have about as much information as I can expect at this point. One
Sorry,
thing.
you broke
were
up
we
there.
Oh, sorry.
were we given a local map? Briefing?
No, you were not. But thankfully we're ending now, so I can make one for next session. But yeah, the main topology on the planet is basically forests around the equator, and then more or less barren wastelands to the north and the south of it. So it's like the wide ring around the equator where, flora and fauna is having the time of their lives, growing the tropical zones. And everything else is just desolate, Mad Max style wasteland, desert wastelands. Think Bonneville Salt Flats in Nevada, with the occasional mountain poking out. I mean, it's a fairly sharp contrast when you actually look at it. You look at the planet itself. But yeah, I'll draw up some maps between sessions so you guys have something to look at for.
Alrighty, sounds good.
What were you saying, Mombo? Sorry, I interrupted you. But you broke up there for a moment, so I didn't hear the full thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was looking up the stuff for the smoke quality because it's really strange, but I think I figured it out. So apparently, the IR chaff that lasts for 1d10 rounds. The smoke quality is what blocks line of sight because the smoke quality it works in 3d10 meters in diameter and lasts for 2d10 rounds or less in adverse weather conditions. But in the description for the smoke grenade, it says the effects of this grenade only last 1d10 rounds. And so you can interpret that a number of ways, but a lot of people seem to interpret it as the IR chaff lasting 1d10 rounds.
Yes, but those are people with enough patience to deal with that shit. So I'll say it's 2d10 both for the smoke and for the IR chaff, because I don't want to deal with fucking two different time tracks.
Yeah, it sounds like a wonderful idea.
I have enough shit to deal with just to keep track of as is without adding extra stuff on top of what I already have. So if I can make my life easier, I'll happily do that. Yeah, so someone make a note of that. Actually, I'll make a note of that in the house rule thing. So smoke grenades, 2d10.
Yep, smoke grenades last 2d10.
I just have to find it in my increasingly dense stack of handouts. Also, we haven't had Tyranids in a while, so maybe that's something to think about, because I have the character sheets.
Yeah, the last mission, every session, I just kept reminiscing about the glory days when we only had to kill Godzilla-sized bugs.
Good chance, and you didn't even see a hive challenge yet. But yes,
I
that
don't
is
really want to until my hands on melting.
well. Unfortunately, I make no promises that you get a Melta before you run face first into the hive fleet again. Then again, maybe some special individual could drop some neighborly fire on someone who has a Melta weapon or a plasma cannon, and maybe just sneak loot their stuff while they are currently unconscious with a bolt around lodged in their brain. That is also a possibility. But yeah, no, I think if there is no further thing we need to figure out, I think we can end it here and then deal with the actual mission itself next time. Now that we have done all the setup.
Right.